Hi everyone, welcome to the High Desert Yarn YouTube channel. Today we're going to be working on a tutorial of how to crochet the Briar Rose Triangle Scarf. So here is my sample here, the scarf, and I'm going to show you where we're going to be starting. We're going to be starting right here, and we're going to be increasing 1 stitch on each side as we move up in the rose to create this little lovely peak. So we're going to crochet just through the second line of slip stitches, and then I'll show you how to work up this bead stitch and half double crochet stitch border. All right, so to start this off, we're going to create a magic ring or a magic circle. They're both the same term. So I'm going to take my yarn end here and lay it against the palm of my hand with the end down, and I'm going to wrap the working yarn around all of my fingers, and then I'm going to tuck this behind and pull up a loop. So insert your hook into that loop, and I like to take the working yarn and kind of pull that down a little bit just so I have a little bit better tension, but don't close that ring. So we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to place 3 single crochets inside that circle or ring. So 1, 2, 3. So this is going to start off our row 1. And now we're going to start our next peak. So chain 2, and then 3 single crochets on the next side. And if you're having trouble with tension, you can always pull this down just a little bit. I like to keep my circle just big enough that I can hold it all in one hand. All right, so 1, 2, 3. All right, and then when you're done with that, we're gonna pull that yarn end and it will cinch down that magic ring. All right, then we're going to turn our work, chain 1, and then we get to start on this next side. So for the first stitch, we're going to place a single crochet and a chain 1, and this really kicks off our moss stitch. The next stitch, we're going to place a single crochet, then we're going to chain 1, and we're going to skip this stitch, and now we have the chain 2 space or the peak. So we're going to place a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet inside that chain 2 space. Then we're going to chain 1, skip this next stitch, and place a single crochet in the next one. And then we have 1 more stitch of the row, so we're going to chain 1 and single crochet in this last stitch. If you can get your hook in there, that'd be helpful. Okay, all right, single crochet, and then there is our second row. Then we're going to turn, chain 1, and then we are going to basically do the same thing. So the row 3 is where that repeat really falls into place. So then we're going to single crochet into the first stitch, chain 1, and then we're going to single crochet into that chain 1 space. And then chain 1, skip stitch, single crochet in that chain 1 space. And then we're going to chain, skip stitch. Now we're in the chain 2 space, so we'll be doing a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. Then we start this side of the peak with a chain, skip this stitch, place a single crochet in the next chain space, chain 1, skip stitch, place a single crochet in this chain space. And then we're going to get to this last stitch. So this one will be a chain 1 and a single crochet into that space. So turn your work, chain 1, and then we're going to repeat row 3 all the way until we get to row 7. So why don't you finish up through row 6 with the moss stitch, and I'll meet you back there. So for row 7, we're just going to go ahead and do 2 half double crochets in this first stitch right here. 1, 2, and then we're going to half double crochet in each chain space and each stitch all the way down. And then just be sure in this peak you're putting a half double crochet, chain 2, and another half double crochet there. So I'm going to be working on this, and I'll meet you at the next row on row 8. So row 8 says to place 2 single crochets in this first stitch. So this one, we're not working into this third loop here. We're just going to go under the top 2 loops like usual. I found during testing and developing the pattern that this just made the most sense. It made your edges much more clean, and I like clean edges. Okay, so 2 single crochet there, and then we're going to single crochet in each third loop, which is right here. There's your third loop. So if you're new to this, these are your top 2 loops on top, which you usually crochet under. But we're gonna crochet under this third loop right here. Dink. So let me draw up a loop. Oh, we're single crocheting, right? Single crochet. All right. So single crochet there, and then do the next one. I'll do a couple of these and then show you what it looks like on the front. So that is what it is going to look like. And so it should look like that all the way across. When you get to the chain 2 space or the peak of your triangle scarf, you will not be crocheting into the third loop. Okay, but here is where it can get tricky, and here's where I lost my stitch count several times. So just be sure you're paying attention to your stitch count. This one right here is going to be a stitch. So make sure you put, that was the third loop. So make sure you put a stitch there. And then we're going to single crochet into the chain 2 space, chain 2, single crochet again. And then our next third loop is going to be right here. All right. We'll finish this side and I'll show you what we do next. Stitch. So just like the row before us, and I put 2 single crochets without going into that third loop, we're going to be doing the same thing here. So just do 2 single crochets in the first stitch, and we're not going to worry about slip stitching just yet. And then we're just going to slip stitch in every single stitch across, except for when we get to this chain 2 space at the peak. That is going to be a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. So a slip stitch is going to just look like this. And then my biggest tip for doing these slip stitches like this through the whole row is just to watch your tension. And a good way that I can tell I've got the right tension is if these 2 loops right here look pretty similar to these 2 loops. It's pretty common for beginners or advanced beginners to really pull down the tension on these slip stitches, and that's just going to draw the edges of your work in and not give you a good shape to your scarf. So just keep your tension a little looser than usual, and we'll just keep on going. So we'll get to this end of row 9, and I'll show you how we're going to work row 10, which is the start of the next moss stitch section, but in the top 2 loops from row 8. The biggest note I have to make is that every stitch, besides the beginning and the end stitches, they're going to go into the single crochet from row 8. So these are the top 2 loops of the single crochets of row 8. So we're going to go underneath both those loops. So for the first stitch, we're going to single crochet and chain 1. Then we're going to skip this next stitch and we're going to start, oh wait, no, don't skip that stitch. We're going to place a single crochet right here. and then we're going to chain 1. We're going to skip this stitch and then put a chain 2, or just a chain. Y'all, it's been a day. This is a single crochet. All right, so single crochet right there. Chain 1, skip this stitch, and then put a single crochet right there. Chain 1, and then so on and so forth up until that peak. So we chained 1, we're going to skip here. And then this is the tricky part, because this one right here is a stitch. So we're going to go under these 2 loops right here, place a single crochet, and then this is the one that we're going to chain 1 and skip until we get to that chain 2 peak. So single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. All right, so this is the back of the work, and that's what your back of the work is going to look like. But if we turn it over to the front of the work, you can see that it really condenses these 2 lines of texture together, as opposed to over here. These are a bit more spread out, and these ones are much closer. So that's exactly what you want it to look like. So we're going to finish up this side, and then we're just going to go straight to the border, and I'll show you how to work up the border. Okay, so we've made it finally to the end of row 10. So this is the back of the work. So if you're gonna, obviously you're gonna keep going up until whenever you wanna stop. I stopped at row 63. That was really happy for me. So just keep going until you get to the, a good, I guess that'd be height, width, whatever, a good size for you. And then we're gonna work on this really nice, it's a bead stitch and half double crochet border. So this is gonna be taking up 4 stitches total. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And depending on how many rows you have done to get to your finished project, the sequence might be a little bit different. So in that case, you're just going to continue the repeat for row 64 or the border just as far as you can. But we're always going to end with, or start with 2 half double crochets in the first stitch and end with 2 half double crochets. So you might be ending on a bead stitch, or you might be ending on a crossed half double crochet. So we're going to turn our work, I like to turn this way, and then chain 1. So for this first stitch, we're going to place 2 half double crochets. And then we're going to start on the bead stitch. So the bead stitch, let me get some more yarn out, is basically a puff stitch, but on its side. We're going to be wrapping around the post of a half double crochet instead of working into a stitch. So we're going to skip this first space right here. And then we're going to half double crochet in the next stitch. And then we're going to be working around this post of the stitch. So kind of like in this hole, instead of working into the stitch of the row. So yarn over, insert your hook from front to back. So you're wrapping it around the back of the post. You're going to pull up a loop. So 3 loops on your hook, yarn over again, repeat from front to back of the work, pull up a loop, 5 loops on your hook, yarn over again, go from front to back, pull up a loop, and we're pulling it around that post stitch. Then you're going to yarn over and pull through all the loops on your hook. All right, so now we're going to do a crossed half double crochet. So we're going to skip this chain space and we're going to half double crochet in the next single crochet. Now we're going to half double crochet back into that chain space. And this is going to be crossing over that first half double crochet we made. And then we're going to repeat it again. So we're going to do skip this space, half double crochet into this single crochet, and then we're going to puff stitch around the post of that half double crochet. and then we're going to cross half double crochet. So skip this next chain space, half double crochet into that single crochet, and then half double crochet back into that chain space. All right, and then we're just gonna keep going with the repeat until we get to the chain 2 space or the peak, and we're gonna be putting a half double crochet, chain 2, half double crochet into that chain 2 space. All right, I just want to say thank you so much for watching this tutorial today. I hope you have learned something new. I hope you have gained some confidence in your crochet skills. I hope you have really enjoyed making this triangle scarf. If you have made this scarf, I would love to see a photo of it on Instagram or on Facebook. Please tag me at highdesertyarn.com. If you want to shop this colorway, Autumn Rose, you can find the color in my Etsy shop. And yeah, I hope you have a really wonderful day, and I have really enjoyed crocheting with you. Happy creating!